get through this. When we square a number, we multiply it by itself. Example, 3 squared is equal to 3 times 3, which is 9, not 3 times 2. Okay? What?
Where are your pencils?
We're over here where they always looking.
Okay? To undo a number that has been squared, we find the square root. Thus, the opposite operation of squaring a number, and this is going to be very important for you to know, not only for a word problem, but also when we get to Pythagorean theorem, which is next on our list. Can you pay attention, please?
This sounds like a sign.
I am already lecturing. Thus, the opposite operation of squaring a number is to find the square root of a number. Example, the square root of 9 is equal to 3. Now, when you get a whole number, when you square something, you know that that number is rational. It is also called a perfect square. Okay? So, when you get a whole number, can you remember that? It is rational. When you've taken the square root, it is rational, and it is called a perfect square. Okay? The formula for the area of a square, although it's not on any of your charts, is side times side. Do you agree? I know you've been taught length times width or base times height. But for a square, your sides are the same. So we can also write that formula as side squared, and that's what you're going to see in 8th grade. It's not on your formula chart. You just need to recognize it. So when given the area of a square and asked to find the side length, just find the square root of the area. Here are some examples. So in other words, if I have a square, and I know that I don't draw squares very good, but I'm doing the best I can, and each side is 5, okay? If I need the area, I'm going to use side times side, which is the same as side squared, okay? So I would do area is equal to 5 times 5, which is equal to 25. Or you could have written this as 5 squared. Okay? If I need to find the side length, when given the area, all you have to do is take the square root of the area for a square, okay? So what I mean by that is if the area is equal to 25, all I need to do is take the square root of 25, and I will find in my calculator that it gives me 5. So I know each side on that square is 5. 5 what? I don't know. 5 units, 5 miles, 5 yards, 5 inches, 5 centimeters. No, you don't ever measure a side length in years. Okay? All right? So I think we know where these buttons are on our calculator, and the nice thing about these buttons is if you notice the x squared, which is finding the area, it's very easy because the x squared is what you use to find the area of the square, but to undo it, it's right on top of it. It is the square root, okay? So they're right there together, all right? So very simple to find. So let's do a couple practices, then you're going to get a packet, and that will be your last grade for today. So, area of a square is 40 units squared. What is the approximate side length? So, I'm sorry, I skipped one. 56 units squared. So, all I need to do is take the square root of 56, and I find that is what? Come on, put it in your calculator, everybody.
Wait, let me see it.
Okay, so did I get a perfect square? Is that a perfect square? No, and is that a rational number? No, no, because it didn't give me a perfect square. It is an irrational number. That number goes on and on and on. So what we really should say is not the square root of 56 equals, but the square root of 56 is approximately. And that's where you see that little squiggly line. You saw it for pi last year when they told you it was 3.14 because pi is really not 3.14. It's approximating it. So I would just probably take that to 7.48. Okay? Area of a square is 40 units squared. This means you're in what dimension? We talked about this with dimensional change. Oh my gosh, no, what does that 2 mean?
Squared.
The second dimension. Okay? You have length and width, all right? It's not perimeter. It's area. Area is in the second dimension.
Yeah.
So, to undo that, the square root of 40 is what?
40.
Approximately what? What? 6.32. Alright? So, area of a square. And I got some names, so you never know who I'm calling, so you better all be using that calculator in front of you and not sitting in your easy chair, Carlos. Okay? Area of a square is 35 units squared. What is the approximate side length? Zach. So is approximately 5.91. Area of a square is 70 square units. The approximate side length is A blue. Approximately 8.36. And I would write that as units now because now I'm talking about a length, so it would just be units. It wouldn't be units squared. The area of a square is 12 units squared. What is the approximate length of its side? Denise? Approximately 3.46. When you get a perfect square, remember 8 squared is what? Andrea? 64. So, if you took the square root of 64, you would find that it is 8. I mean, it is that simple, people. This is not complicated science, okay?